New details are coming in as authorities investigate Liam Payne's sudden death after the former One Direction member fell to his death.
Liam Payne had warned the world, if I'm gone in 7 days, it was Jay-Z and Beyonce. Now his father, Jeff Payne, stood on the very balcony where his son fell to his death. Looking out over the tragic scene, the sorrow was overwhelming, but so were the whispers about what really happened in Liam's final hours. Let us dive deeper as we uncover a shocking twist, one that might change everything we thought we knew about Liam's tragic ending. Liam Payne recently shared a surprising and unsettling experience he had with music legends Diddy and Jay-Z. What seemed like a simple greeting turned into a strange and uncomfortable moment for him. As he recalled, Diddy greeted him with an unusual laugh and held on to a handshake for what felt like too long, leaving the former One Direction member feeling uneasy. He mentioned that Diddy's laughter was one of the most unsettling sounds he had ever heard. This encounter took place in front of an audience and was captured during a broadcast, giving the public a chance to see how celebrities interact with each other. Soon after that strange encounter, Liam's life took a dark and unexpected turn.
I mean, I've spoken to managers who've lost people and different, and you know, I've definitely put strain on a lot of people in my life in the past. You see, let's be like a makes me a different person. I don't like talking about it.
As you might expect, once this story came out, people online quickly started talking about it. Many theories popped up, adding fuel to the never-ending interest in celebrity life. While all this was going on, Justin Bieber's wife, Hailey, also made headlines, but for different reasons. She opened up about the changes in her life, sharing the ups and downs of her career. Hailey reflected on the challenges she faces and the personal growth she has experienced, emphasizing how much strength and patience are needed in her line of work. The British singer has had his own challenges, and during a chat on the Diary of a CEO podcast, he got candid about how he deals with personal conflicts and stress. He shared that he handles negativity and tough emotions through physical exercise and by writing letters that he never sends. This simple method helps him release frustration. For him, it's a way to manage the heavy pressures of fame and protect his mental well-being. But in recent public appearances and videos, some people have noticed that the artist seems to be struggling more than before. His demeanor, or the way he carries himself, suggests that he might be facing deeper challenges. This opened up a broader conversation about how fame can impact mental health, not just for him, but for other celebrities too.
I cried a river.
Robbie Williams, for example, has spoken openly about his own difficult journey with fame. He's described the intense pressure that comes with being in the spotlight and how it can sometimes be too much to handle. It's easy to forget that behind the glitz and glamour, fame comes with a lot of emotional and mental weight. The conversation about the singer and Robbie's experiences sparked a larger discussion about the psychological impact of fame. It reminded us that celebrities, like anyone else, deal with real-life issues, and often the public only sees a small part of their reality. Diddy's family is also on the news. His children are still living very public lives, even though the family has been going through some serious legal challenges. Despite these difficulties, Diddy's kids have been seen out and about, engaging in their usual social activities and keeping up a lavish lifestyle. This sharp contrast between their public lives and private struggles paints a picture of how celebrity families often have to balance two very different worlds. As we think about these stories, a common theme emerges. Fame doesn't just affect the person in the spotlight, but it also shapes their families, their mental health, and their sense of identity. Whether it's the unsettling encounter, Hailey Bieber's reflections on her career, or Diddy's children navigating life in the public eye, we get a glimpse into how complex life can be when lived under constant public scrutiny. It's important to remember that behind every headline, there's a person with real emotions, dealing with real challenges. Celebrities might seem to have it all, but they also carry burdens that most of us don't see. Their personal struggles are often hidden behind their public personas, which can make it even harder for them to seek help or be open about what they're going through. Fame can bring incredible opportunities, but it also comes with a price. Whether it's mental health struggles, family issues, or the pressure to always appear perfect in the public eye, it's clear that the life of a celebrity is far more complicated than it looks from the outside. And while fans may think they know their favorite stars, the reality is often far more complex than we could imagine. More shocking details about Liam's final days soon came to light. Liam Payne's sudden death has left many people around the world shocked and heartbroken. His passing has not only raised questions about his personal struggles, but also brought attention to some unsettling truths about the entertainment industry. Just before his unexpected death, Liam had hinted at serious problems within the music industry, involving big names like Diddy and Jay-Z.
I went over to say hello to P. Diddy, and Jay-Z was there, and Leonardo DiCaprio was sat.
Even though he made some concerning statements, many of his fans didn't fully understand how serious his concerns were. One particular incident that stands out happened when Liam had a troubling interaction with Diddy. This encounter seemed to scare him deeply. Now, some are wondering if Liam's knowledge of certain secrets might have led to his early death. It's hard to ignore the fact that soon after this incident, Liam's laptop was destroyed, which raises the question, was he trying to get rid of information, or was someone else trying to hide something? At first, people didn't connect Liam's death to Diddy's ongoing controversies. They seemed like separate issues. But as time passed, fans began revisiting old interviews, noticing subtle details that are now starting to seem more significant. For instance, in one interview with One Direction, the group's comments about meeting Diddy and Jay-Z were noticeably guarded. This now makes people wonder if there was more going on behind the scenes. Back in 2017, Liam shared in an interview with Kiss FM's Kyle and Jackie O that he felt uncomfortable and even fearful after meeting Diddy. This encounter also involved other celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio. What's interesting is that when Liam began talking about his experiences, the interviewer quickly changed the subject, almost as if they didn't want him to say too much. This has led some fans to believe that there might be more to the story than meets the eye. As more people online began discussing these events, one theory emerged. Liam might have been targeted because he knew too much. Perhaps he was planning to speak out about the dark side of the industry or the mistreatment of artists. Some fans think Liam's problem started much earlier, back when he first became famous with One Direction at the age of 16. He has spoken in the past about the lack of support for young artists, especially those who rise to fame through television shows. Simon Cowell, who played a big role in the success of One Direction, has also been mentioned in discussions about the darker side of the music industry. Cowell has faced his own share of controversies, and people are now examining his connection to Diddy. Some are even suggesting that Cowell might have engaged in some of the same questionable practices as Diddy, which adds another layer of complexity to the story. These accusations contribute to a broader discussion about exploitation in the music industry, particularly of young and vulnerable artists. As the mystery surrounding Liam's death deepened, more details about his final days began to surface. It was reported that Liam seemed to be under a lot of emotional and mental distress during his last moments at the Casa Sur Palermo Hotel in Buenos Aires. Witnesses saw him have a public breakdown, where he angrily destroyed his laptop after reading a disturbing email. There were also reports that controlled substances were found in his hotel room, and the place was left in a chaotic state, adding to the concern over his well-being. At the same time, Liam's professional life was in turmoil. He had recently parted ways with Universal Music Group, and this happened right after a significant financial deal. This sudden break raised a lot of questions about why it happened and whether there were other motives behind it. To make matters worse, Liam was also dealing with a lawsuit from his ex-partner, which only added to the stress he was already under. Despite all these struggles, Liam's death has left behind a lot of unanswered questions. His fans and fellow artists are still trying to make sense of what happened.
We worked with Liam, toured with him, wrote songs, and so yeah, it was really, just heartbreaking news. And yeah, I think
the grief people feel is mixed with confusion as they wonder about the complex relationships and pressures that come with being in the music industry. As investigations into his death continue, many are hoping for some form of justice and transparency. They want to know the full truth behind Liam's passing, and they hope that by uncovering it, some peace can be found. As people mourned, investigations started to uncover troubling facts. The world is still reeling from the sudden and tragic passing of the British singer. Fans of the former One Direction star are gathering in different parts of the world to honor his memory, lighting candles and playing his songs at the location where he passed away. The exact details surrounding his death remain unclear, but investigations in Argentina, where the incident happened, are slowly uncovering more information. Early reports suggest that the artist fell from a third-floor balcony at his hotel in Buenos Aires. Local authorities were called to the scene after hotel staff reported that a guest was acting erratically and seemed to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol. The emergency call from the hotel staff was urgent, as they were concerned about the musician's behavior and the presence of a balcony nearby. When police entered the hotel room, they found a broken television and items that hinted at drug use. However, these details were not shared widely by the media out of respect. Some officials believe the fall may have been accidental, likely due to his impaired state at the time. The news of his death has hit fans hard all over the world. It brings to mind the sadness that was felt when other beloved stars, like Heath Ledger and Kurt Cobain, passed away. For many younger fans, this is the first time they have experienced the loss of a public figure they felt connected to.
It's like the fondest memories I have. Like, I look back on it like it's my favorite time of my life. Like, there was always something to look forward to, and whether it would be like...
The performer was a huge influence on this generation, much like the Beatles were for past generations. His family and former bandmates have shared their heartbreak over the loss. They are asking for privacy as they take time to grieve. Meanwhile, admirers are planning memorials, with one of the biggest set to happen in London's Hyde Park. His death has not only brought attention to the pressures of fame, but also sparked important conversations about mental health and substance violence. According to further updates from Argentine authorities, the singer was alone at the time of the fall, and he likely wasn't fully aware of what was happening. This only adds to the sadness surrounding the situation. News outlets like CNN have been speaking with fans who have gathered in Buenos Aires to mourn. Many of these fans are from Generation Zeta and are deeply affected by the loss. They find comfort in singing his songs together and supporting each other during this difficult time. As fans from all over the world share their feelings, it becomes clear just how far One Direction's influence has reached. Some mourners have even traveled from as far as New Zealand to pay their respects. Social media has been a huge part of spreading the news and connecting followers, showing just how close-knit the community around the band has always been. Later, the conversation moved into a deeper discussion with Joe Levy, an experienced editor from Rolling Stone magazine. He provided more insight into the troubling situation surrounding a recent event. Joe shared how hotel staff had noticed a guest, Liam Payne, showing signs of distress during his stay. They were particularly worried about his interactions with the room's balcony, which posed a potential danger. Even though the hotel staff was aware of the risks, their efforts to prevent what eventually happened weren't enough. The emergency call showed just how much concern there was for the guest's safety, highlighting a situation that is unfortunately not uncommon in the world of celebrities. The well-known singer was dealing with the heavy weight of fame. At times, he turned to alcohol or other substances, and there were moments when he damaged things around him, as mentioned in the emergency call. Stories like this are not rare among famous individuals whose lives are constantly in the public eye. Sadly, the series of events led to a tragic end that was felt deeply around the world. It was especially heartbreaking considering his young age and the fact that he was a father to a 7-year-old child. He had been in the public spotlight for most of his life, gaining fans and recognition all over the world. His sudden passing left many in mourning. The artist had always been open about his personal struggles with addiction and mental health, as well as the harassment he faced online. This openness added complexity to how people saw him, showing the difficult balance between his public success and his private struggles. From an early age, the performer had faced challenges. When he was 12, he dealt with kidney problems, a serious health issue for someone so young. He took up boxing to defend himself against bullying in school, which showed the strength of his character. This story of the pop star reflects a larger truth about the lives of famous figures. Even though they are surrounded by fame and loved by millions of fans, they often feel incredibly lonely. The pressure of always being in the spotlight can make them feel trapped in the very world that celebrates them. This loneliness can lead to feelings of isolation, boredom, and even despair. One important thing to remember is that these pressures don't go away when a celebrity's career slows down. In fact, they can become even harder to handle once the applause dies down and the spotlight moves on. After his music group broke up, the performer faced this reality as public attention continued, but his personal struggles only grew. Joe Levy also spoke about the wider impact of high-pressure environments on young stars in the entertainment industry. He pointed out how important it is for people in these environments to have support and for others to check in on those who might be struggling in silence. The conversation ended with a powerful reminder about how vulnerable people can be when facing mental health and substance use issues, especially when society experiences collective grief over the loss of a beloved celebrity. New findings made the heartbreaking story even more tragic. In a deeply emotional moment, Jeff Payne, the father of Liam, stood on the hotel balcony where his son tragically fell to his death. He stayed there briefly, absorbing the heavy reality of what had happened, before returning to the suite where his son had spent his final hours. The atmosphere was filled with sorrow and chaos as Jeff, 66 years old, arrived at the scene. As fans and photographers crowded around the hotel, police officers and security had to clear a path for him to move through. The tension grew when a security guard became involved in a physical confrontation with a photographer. In an act of remarkable kindness, fans formed a protective barrier around the grieving father, shielding him from the intrusive cameras as he walked through the hotel lobby. This thoughtful gesture gave him a moment of privacy during such a painful time. Jeff had just returned from the morgue, where he had gone through the heartbreaking task of formally identifying his son's body. Despite the commotion surrounding him, he took a moment to visit the growing memorial outside the hotel. Supporters had placed flowers, letters, and notes there, paying tribute to the late artist. Deeply moved by the show of love and support, Jeff paused to read the heartfelt messages left by admirers who, though they had never met his son, felt a strong connection through his music and public persona. At the same time, his son's partner, Katie Cassidy, was seen in public for the first time since the tragedy. She appeared in Miami, visibly shaken and clearly struggling with her emotions.
I did not come prepared for this trip at all. So
That's funny because you actually packed my suitcase too.
Katie had spent 2 weeks with him in Argentina, but had left just 2 days before his untimely death.
Well, from South America back to Florida with me. I was so ready to leave. I hate staying in one place for too long, and I was just like, I need to go home.
The weight of her grief was obvious as she tried to come to terms with the profound loss. The situation surrounding the young star's passing became even more complex when troubling details emerged. Authorities found traces of dangerous substances in his system, including a party drug called pink cocaine, crack, and a prescription sedative known as benzodiazepam. These findings added fuel to the ongoing rumors and investigations, suggesting that hotel staff might have been involved in providing these substances. Police also found a box of Dove soap in his room, containing white powder and drug paraphernalia, hinting at the darker struggles he had been dealing with in his final days. As part of the investigation, 2 hotel employees were questioned about how these drugs may have reached the singer. The revelations highlighted the intense pressure and dangers he faced, contrasting sharply with the image of a successful, beloved performer. His untimely death not only shocked his fans, but also shone a light on the hidden difficulties of living in the public eye. As the global community of admirers coped with the sudden loss of such a talented individual, the impact went beyond personal grief. The tragedy highlighted the deeper issues faced by public figures: constant scrutiny, the immense stress of fame, and the battle with mental health and substance violence. This incident serves as a reminder that behind the glitz and glamour, these individuals often face enormous challenges. Should celebrities be held accountable for the substances they consume? Leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more discussion.